Welcome in. It is the ATB show. I feel like I had it muted. Maybe that was, I think I know what it is now. I'm talking. Everybody's like, what is he talking about? Welcome to the show. Just like our dear teams that we adore so much. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. We have Rubber Shoes, as you can see. On camera, not on camera because he's on duty. We thank him for his service. He is out helping the great people of beautiful downtown LA, the Lowell area. So he'll be back. Maybe he won't. He might forget he has a show. Yeah, they finish, they go, they do their call. They're like, let's grab dinner on the way back. They're triple parking the truck in front of some poor sub shop in beautiful downtown Lowell. So his background noise is just open. So I've muted his mic. But I think when you and I were starting the show, Scotty, it gives us all the audio until we go live, and then it mutes it again. So he is muted, and he'll probably figure that out when he gets back.
I started looking at all my apps and stuff that I had going on, and this screen and this screen.
Yep.
And
I'm like, we're getting hacked. It's the Russians. So anyway, welcome into ATB show. My name is Tim. I'm in beautiful downtown New Hampshire. Uncle Duke's in beautiful downtown Maine, and Rubber Shoes will be back. Adam is on assignment. We are brought to you by our dear friends at AAA Work Trucks. If it's on, next to, underneath, or stealing steak tips in a skybox, it might be Rubber Shoes, or it might be our dear friends Joe and Leslie at AAA Work Trucks. Please look them up. If you do see one of their infamous work vehicles in the wild, it is Rubber Shoes. Almost looks like all of the members of the Village People as he's scattered around the truck in different getups. Although now culturally, racially appropriated, he has not. Yeah, there's nothing. When I say Village People, if you know what I'm talking about, if you don't, ask your grandparents. If you do know what I'm talking about, he is nowhere on the van dressed in some of the scantily clad outfits those gentlemen used to wear back in the day. They haven't done. Aerosmith is doing a reunion tour, or one last tour. And when I started screaming about this, welcome to the show, by the way, everybody. When I started screaming about this morning, I said to Ginny, I'm like, how long was that marketing meeting that they decided to call it the Peace Out Tour? That's what they're calling it. It's terrible. Now, when I said this, because I'm just like off the top of my head, I'm like, they're leaving. If this is their last time on stage, apparently they're doing New Year's Eve at the Garden. Amazing. And the last show, I believe New Year's Day or January 2nd, 2024, will be in Montreal.
Oh, wow.
If they are truly stepping away, and this is it, if I were part of their marketing team, and Janino's point was they probably used that for a tour before, maybe, and I'm old and senile, and I've forgotten, so maybe I'm wrong, I would call it Dream On. Like, we're done, we're gone, dream on, right? Yeah. Like, carry this on, right? And no, but they went with Peace Out.
Yeah.
Like, whoever came up with that also decided probably some marketing ideas for a national beer company that, is struggling with their stock price. Right there. Your lights are off now. What's happening? Are you getting shut down? Are we being shut down already? Because I made fun of both.
I wanted to see how many stops they're doing, like how many stops they're going to go to.
Yeah, look that up. Let's get into it because we've got time. Because as I proposed this morning, dear friend, I'm ready to talk about the LPGA, the draft. I want to talk about anything but the Bruins, but we're going to have to get to it. Obviously, I am looking. A few weeks ago when we did episode 100, Scotty, you brought each and every one of us a lunch IPA. At the time,
yes, sir,
I was busy lenting, so I've held on to it. She is ice cold in my office fridge, and now I need to figure out. I love the label; it's so clean. Lunch, India Pale Ale. Do what's right. I'm gonna as soon as I find an opener. I'm gonna do what's right.
Exactly.
And I'm not trying to come off like a Girl Scout right now and say that I don't have an opener in this office. There's an opener somewhere. There it is. It's over on the fridge. I got a magnetic church key on the fridge. Of course I do.
Perfect. While he's grabbing that, so there are actually 40 stops, 40 dates starting in September in Philly, and then wrapping up, as you mentioned, January 26th in Montreal. They're going to play Boston New Year's Eve on New Year's Eve, amid other sets for arenas in Chicago, Washington, Atlanta, Seattle, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Nashville, New York, and others. Actually, no. So Boston, they're going to be in Boston. Not when you said the Garden, for some reason I thought Madison Square Garden
No,
because I
no,
was
no.
thinking New Year's Eve, and I was thinking New York as I knocked my mic over.
Yeah, no.
Give
New
me some
Year's
more.
Eve is Boston. Yep.
I got the Japanese whiskey, by the way. I just figured that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I've got lunch. I just found an opener, so I'm gonna let that rip in a second. Here's looking up your address, my friend. Good to see you. So 40 dates. If you had to guess, because I had to look this up, if you had to guess, how old do you think he is?
Steven Tyler's got to be, I'm going to guess 72. 73.
Ooh, very close. 75.
Ooh, I was right on.
75.
I was right on.
Which is so phenomenal. I think about this all the time because I do believe maybe there's a couple of months and it's not the same day. My dad was August 31st, but my dad, now passed, Mick Jagger, same age.
Oh, wow.
Mick Jagger, who runs laps up and down the stage, full of cocaine, mind you. Yeah, same age as Richard E. Lindsay, who went to church, went to Raytheon, came home, yelled at the television, went to bed, went to church, went to Raytheon, right? Attended a few BC football games and some boxing. Certainly not spry enough to run around the stage. I mean, he wasn't doing coke. He wasn't doing regular amounts of cocaine. Maybe that would have helped. I don't know.
I think that I think right there is a part of the diet that nobody with a physician's coat recommends. But
Mick Jagger. It's all lips for Mick Jagger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do we want to go? What do we want to tee off, sir? The world is our oyster.
He actually, Steven Tyler's actually older than my dad, which is amazing to think about. You know what I mean? And obviously he's like a toothpick and stuff like that. Nor my father's the Hobbit, but Dad's still doing his thing. He's still, he's still running around, still cutting down trees.
Yep.
At 69 years old. God bless him. But I think we start with. I mean, we can maybe wait for Billy for the Bruins. Maybe we can start with that ridiculousness that happened last night with the Celtics and wait for. Ripping on the Bruins if Billy does show back up. But last night was just there were so many bad things to talk about last night, starting with their defense. They just didn't want to play. There was zero effort on that side. I watched the Phoenix game right after, and I could hear folks, the announcers were talking about it's only 15 games for Kevin Durant with Booker and Chris Paul and whatever. Of course, got hurt again in the playoffs. It's literally death taxes, and Chris Paul getting hurt in the playoffs is pretty much what you can guarantee. But with the Celtics, though, I was watching that thinking, is it their 15th game together? Because they made so many just unforced errors and just really bad mistakes in regards to just turning the ball over, miscommunications, especially in clutch moments. And that's something that, is I think really frustrating for the team. I think it's really frustrating for obviously the fans and the fact that they didn't have Embiid. They're going to rest Embiid, I think, for tomorrow's game, Wednesday night's game, because why would you risk it? They're already up 1-0. Rest him now, and then give him another day or two, and then go back to Philly. So I don't think he's going to play. He was 50-50, I think, to play tomorrow anyway. But it was just a really disappointing performance, but not surprising. I don't think any of us were shocked by this because the Celtics all year have played to their competition. When they lost to Houston on that that long road trip they had near the end of the year in February. They lost to fucking Houston because they played down to them. That's how it was.
Yep.
But yeah,
he's in the house. I just unmuted him. Here we are. He's back.
What's up?
Oh, there's a lot going on.
How are all the cats?
There's a lot. Very active in the chat. There we go. Hey, buddy. So we said hi to Joe and Leslie. We are in the midst of discussing the Celtics from last night. Yeah. We're going to take it one heartache at a time. So we're talking Celtics. So, Scotty, to your point, just so annoying that as soon as the whole thing about Embiid was going to be on the bench, I'm like, oh, we're losing. I know my long term, my big thing, I can't claim anything between now and the end. I said Phoenix at the beginning of the season. I said Phoenix game 7 of the finals. They break our hearts, right? So we didn't make predictions for last round or this round. Maybe we made first. Oh, we did make. Well, I said 4. Did I say 4-2? I said 4-2 in the first round.
I said sweep.
Yeah, we went sweep, gentleman sweep, and 4-2. I think. Yeah. So all that aside, I so annoyed that they didn't grab this because they might steal the next game. I mean the Celtics right now. I'm using that language in our building, unfortunately. They might steal the next game because they'll be coming. The Sixers are coming off the high of the win.
Right.
And maybe they don't put it together, and maybe they're angry enough to even this thing up. But I don't have a lot of hope just looking at the way they're playing. There were flashes of the Jays playing together and passing really well, and they were finishing each other's sentences, and then there was just deplorable defense to match. And we talk about all the time with football. You can't keep scoring field goals if the other team's scoring touchdowns.
And that was it too. Like I was talking to my buddy Chris last night. Celtics are a 3-point shooting team, and because Embiid wasn't there, they got away from that. Right? They started to attack the rim, which was right. In theory, that's really smart. However, when you're giving up threes at the rate they were doing that, and especially in the first half, and I think this is where my biggest criticism of Mazzulla last night, and I've had plenty of it throughout the year, but was all of a sudden late first quarter, early second, he started to blitz Harden on a double team. What happened was Harden was getting out of that double team and wide open shooters, which allowed those shooters to get comfortable, to get into rhythm, and allowed them to continue to hit threes throughout the rest of the game. And they just didn't have to worry about it. When in the second half, he didn't double him, which I thought was the way to go. He shouldn't have doubled him to begin with. But the second half, they stopped the double team, but those guys are already in rhythm. They were already comfortable out there. And you have Maxey dropping 27. They had a couple other guys that were in the teens, and but everyone was hitting threes. And when you're scoring, you're going to the basket, you're getting 2, but you're giving up a 3. You're losing a point there. You're -1, right? So and that kept happening. Why Celtics were shooting at a ridiculous 74%, but we're only up by 3 points. And it's like, because they're not doing what they usually do, which is hit threes. And again, smart for them to go to the rim because there was no rim protector, but you have to follow that up with good defense at the other end and at least get some hands up and make sure they're not hitting trays in the face or actually lack thereof.
And it's going to be so rare, and it didn't happen last night, where you're never going to be able to. You're rarely going to be able to outscore a bad defense. Right, like that, and that's and the Patriots got away with it forever because we had the offense it was the bend don't break defense, but the bend was close to snap most times. It was a high ankle sprain every time we bended on the Patriots, and they looked that so inconsistent last night. And as soon as the game was over, they're showing there was one guy standing. He was like courtside seats, and he was just like. And it almost looked like he must have been like, I can't believe I was here last night and I'm here tonight. I can't believe I just dropped last month's rent, this month's rent, and next month's rent. I got 3 mortgage payments I just spent to be really close to really bad sports. And again, somebody said this, and we'll get to the Bruins eventually, and that's heartbreaking. And it's what we all feared the most, like the early exit to a team that actually shouldn't have been there, right? But they came and stole our cheese. Let's stay on the Celtics. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go, if this goes horribly wrong, this series, never mind the whole season. I'm not going to go and just like, oh my God, we're so spoiled. And I say this a lot. We're so spoiled. We're not anymore. Our last parade was in 1938. And it's not even us being spoiled pink hat New England fans. These teams are good enough that they should be closing. Mm-hmm. And the Bruins Marchand probably played golf today. God bless him. I don't know where he would have played golf today unless he left the country. But I don't know what they're waiting to do to wake up. And I think the other thing, and I'd love to hear Rubber Shoes and you talk about this. I know they were mic'd up. And the wife and I watch the Celtics and all playoffs. Like, Janina will leave the room absurd. Like, she'll stand on the roof. We have all these superstitions, what she has to do during playoff games. We watch it very passively because if we pay too much attention, we feel like we're dragging them down. We're that stupid. So we watch it very passively. But I did hear, and they were talking about it during the program, and I heard it again this morning. Was Marcus mic'd up? Somebody was mic'd up. And it was very clear.
Marcus said, I'm going in for JB.
Yeah, like Marcus let Mazzulla know he was going in. And that's been like a big thing. And I'm not saying he's,
Mazzulla
lost
said,
the clubhouse or lost
Williams.
the bench, but is he starting to get exposed right now as a coach?
Yes.
He got out coached last night. I mean, that's not even a question. Like he totally got out coached last night.
Yeah, but last night.
So
Yeah, go ahead, Rubber.
yesterday during the day on Sports Hub, they came out. The Grandy had went back through the season and found that when they played a team that was missing their number one star, they were like 3-11 against them this past season.
Because they just take the foot off the gas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they think
they play down to their competition.
Yep, they don't have this guy. We can beat them easy.
Yeah, and they lax on the defensive end. That's why I even say like getting kicked in the teeth for this game. Like you were saying earlier, Timmy, like, I don't know if I have much faith in them winning this series. Well, I mean, I still do, because I think them getting kicked in the teeth like this, I think actually they have a really good shot to still win this series. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they rattled off 4 straight, right? I think this is, and it has to be a wake up call. Does it put an enormous amount of pressure on them for tomorrow night's game? Yes, unneededly so, absolutely. But I still think they can step up and do it. They have the talent. It's just whether or not they want to put that effort forth. And
they're easily the best team in the East right now.
Yeah, if it says they have that unfinished business on their shirts, if they actually mean that, or if it's just marketing, if they actually legitimately believe that, from what happened last year, then they need to show it, and they have to show it obviously tomorrow.
Well, so you used a term that people use all the time, and like there's a handful of words right now just in the universe that annoy me. Entrepreneur is one of them. Everybody became an entrepreneur during COVID, right? No, you got a side hustle and you made no money. You're not an entrepreneur. Anyway, the playing down, the phraseology of they're playing down to their competition, which I completely agree. Teams do it. And what in the hell does that mean? Like, when do a bunch of, and they're kids, I have to remind myself that the 2 or 3 of the 5 starters could be my son. They're millionaires. They're premier athletes. And at what point do you realize, oh, we can't do this anymore? Like you've got 48 minutes to figure it fit forward, right? Like how do teams not? How does it get that far away from them? And it didn't, I guess, because in the attrition of the game, like they stayed close. They didn't lose by 30. I'm not saying that, but how do they not realize? Okay, Embiid's missing, and we apparently took stock in that. We've compartmentalized that and decided we can play less because he's not on the floor. But Harden's stealing 40 last night. Was it 40 last night?
45.
So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, old man Jeepers scored 45 points. And the one that when you knew it was over for me, me and my cats, we were keeping box score like we were at the Red Sox game. We decided it was over when he rolled his ankle and still hit the 3. Like the shot where he came down and his ankle rolled. And you look unimpressed, Scotty, so maybe you don't think it was a big deal. But
the shot when he kicked his foot out and stepped on Marcus's foot and tried to get a call, that call?
And that's why I looked unimpressed, because Billy knew exactly why I made that face, because I was like, because the guy drives me freaking nuts. You know what I mean? He
drives the Celtics nuts. I love that he drives you nuts. I hope our players are as upset as the two of you. Well,
he was Trae Young
nonetheless, he rolled his ankle, and he still came back and hit another 3 after that. I don't know.
I see your point, Tim. Like, there's no reason where the saying is like, because they're all professional athletes, right? They're all, extraordinarily talented individuals, and it is a good team and it's well coached. But when you're most likely when you're the MVP of the league is not playing against you in game 1 and you're at home, because you lack that, which we talked about before. You don't have that killer instinct. You don't have, I'm going to put my foot on your fucking throat and we're going to do this. That's a thing that they need to do. They have to have that, and they don't do it, and they haven't been doing it. It's literally the theme, and that's to Billy's point with Sean Grandy looking it up. That has been the theme all season, going back to losing to the kids in Houston before the end of the season ended, all that stuff. Like, it's just
OKC.
It's like a coasting mechanism that they have, like the switch in their head where it's like, okay, they're not as good as we are, so we can just, we can show up and we'll be good enough. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that, especially in the NBA now, because there's so many, threes will kill you, and that's what happened last night. Everybody goes on a run because it's the NBA, and if you don't play any defense, people will make threes. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, they're professional. Like Sam Hauser, if you don't cover him, he hits a shot.
So for you with the X's and O's, which is not me, that's why I'm asking the two of you. Like, what are the little things that you see Missoula not doing or the players not doing that added up to yesterday? Because defense is a big fat word. Everybody can say the defense sucked.
Yeah,
What does that mean though?
I think he is hesitant to make changes. Like something's happening. One, he won't call a timeout to stop it from, you get six or maybe more. It seems like they have an infinite amount of timeouts. He doesn't use his timeouts. Even so, the game against Atlanta, the last game, he had 3 timeouts, and he's going to lose one at the 2-minute mark at the end of the game,
Yeah.
and he doesn't use it. It's like, you might as well use it just to take a breath.
Yeah. Saving it for
And
what?
He just doesn't do it. Right. Exactly. You're going to lose it no matter what, so you might as well use it for a reason instead of just losing it.
Yeah, I mean the first point I made was around to that, Tim, was obviously the double team in the beginning, which got their shooters on a roll and they got comfortable to start with. But I would say, in the second half, the kind of the way they started to play the pick and roll, they played the pick and roll, I think, in a way that they shouldn't, only because I think they have enough talent to play. Like, they play it under. And what I mean by that is if the man's coming up and, they're setting a pick, Al Horford's man setting a pick, or Robert Williams' man setting a pick. Horford and Williams are dropping back. They're playing that under. So Smart or someone will stick with their man, with Horford's man, but Williams and Horford aren't coming up to the defend, Harden, Maxey, or whoever, or Trae Young. They're still giving them space because they're still afraid of them going by the blow-by. But the blow-by is not hurting you. And that's what Missoula needs to, hey, just play up. Just don't worry about them going to the paint. They're not going to the paint. They're not doing that. You're giving them that space, and they're going to hit the 3 in your face. So, at that point, they need to, I think, adjust a little bit to where, they collapse it and they pressure it a little bit more, and then they make others at least work a little bit harder for that. I think that's one big change that I would like to see Missoula do, and at least in the next game for sure. And don't double team. Don't double team. Don't double team anybody. I wouldn't even double team Embiid. Let Embiid if he comes back and he gets 50, he gets 50. Just don't let anyone else score. You know what I mean? Like I would. That's what I would do. Like there's just because there's nobody on that team that's necessarily going to stop Embiid. They're going to slow him down, and that's fine.
Yep.
But make him work. Make him work for his 50. But let him get 50, and then but shut everyone else down. Do not double team. And I don't know why the hell he double teamed last night. I still it's driving me nuts.
Well, after who in the East, knowing that Giannis is out of it, after dealing with Embiid, God willing we get past them, who else do we have to battle in the East that has a monster like that?
Butler.
Jimmy Butts.
Yeah. Well, I'm speaking from a size standpoint, though.
Bam's. I mean, Bam's. There's nobody really in the league as big as Embiid that's really left. I mean, Jokic is a big dude, but he's not as tall.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nobody really in the NBA. I mean, Davis, I guess, is somewhat of a big dude. But yeah, there's nobody that's massive that's gonna, whatever.
But in the East, so yeah, they can sort of save
in the East.
They can save their strength for.
Mitchell Robinson's tall, but he's not Embiid. You know what I mean? Like he's tall, he works hard, he crashes the boards and stuff, but he's not, he's 6'11", and Embiid's 7'2", can hit the 3 and can do all the things. So yeah, there's nobody like that. And that's what Billy said earlier. It's like, he's right. It's like, we are the favorites in the East, and we fucking should be with what they have left. We
you
really
both make such a great point too. Like our defense is talented enough. They don't need to double anybody. And if they press a little bit closer and not give them the comfort standing at the 3-point line and make them drive, even if they do, it's better to get that 2 than just let them rain 3s on us, because that's really what happened with it, the way it unfolded last night, which is
that was their staple last year, was their defense, and they seem to have gone away from it a lot this year. Like, I know we have a different coach, but Missoula can't teach any defense. It's like you got to be able to switch up. And it's like when they played the zone last night, I was like, oh, geez, here goes. Is Joe going to be able to figure out how to fix this? but they didn't stay in it that long. So I was like, okay, that's good, because that usually gives them problems. They try to play iso ball still with the zone, and it's like the thing to break the zone is moving the ball around and cutting and V'ing in and out, but not
Rubber Shoes.
just standing in one spot.
Rubber
That's
Shoes,
a-
before you got back, I meant to ask Scotty his permission. Now I'm just going to step on it probably. I'm very excited on behalf of both of us and for Adam too. I texted Adam earlier. On behalf of Scotty and Adam and myself and a grateful ATB Nation, we want to let you know that for the rest of the Celtics series, the Bruins will not be playing on the same night. And we knew that would make you very happy.
I almost texted that when they lost, but I did not want to I was like, oh Jesus! Like,
well,
Worst part of this, we're out of the Stanley Cup. Best part, no more doubles. No more doubles.
I was pissed because I missed the Verdugo walk-off last night.
Rubber Shoes is calling Xfinity. I need a new remote. My previous button is broken.
No, I need a
Stupid
new
schedule
wall.
makers. Where will we go with that? With
right
the I don't know. I
I
have
need
one
a
more
wall
thing.
like Scotty has, so I can put a projector up on a wall.
right over there.
You just need the wall. You just need, I have the perfect wall for the 100-inch screen. It's just it's in a space in my house that's occupied by older people that gave birth to my wife. So we're waiting. I'm patiently waiting. Patiently waiting. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great.
The last thing
I'm
on the Celtics
not
would be-
complaining. I have a 75 in the bedroom. I'm not complaining. It's not Scotty's 90-inch or whatever the hell he's got. But what is your projector goes to what? 110?
Yeah, easy. Yeah. But I got a 60-inch with the screen, like the regular TV, and then
Yeah.
I go across like the side of the wall over here, and that's I don't know.
For video files like myself, did you fully dork out and buy like the cinema gray paint, or is it just
No.
is
It's
it
actually
eggshell?
funny that it's so funny because it was this. It's this like very Tar Heel blue that we put on down here.
Oh, that's too bad.
And the way that it's hurtful. The
That's a
way that the projector hits it, it's perfect. It couldn't. It's crystal clear.
Yeah.
There's no issues. The projector also is very nice. It's a very nice projector.
But here's the thing: it is an absolute no-brainer because it's so funny when you watch these shows. Like if you watch my favorite real estate network, HGTV, makes me want to lay in traffic. And when they're selling the houses, or you watch anything where that invariably there's always a mirror or some artwork leaning against the wall above the mantle. Because behind that is all the connections for the TV that somebody's going to eventually hang when they buy the place. And if you have a space that your loving partner doesn't want a big ridiculous TV in, it's a really simple fix. I was one of our agents showed me in this house, beautiful room, and they had a projector that what they did when it wasn't TV, they projected an image of artwork, which was super cool. It looked like the wall was painted.
awesome, yeah.
I've seen other houses where they've done it, and when they're not watching TV, they just leave the wall there, and it doesn't look really blank. It looked really cool because if you leave the wall blank and everything else, all your other walls have stuff on it, then it looks noticeable. This room was gingerly decorated. And when they're not using the projector, they have a capsule, and it was really nice, and they put it over it, so you don't even see the thing. And then when you're watching TV, it's a simple thing that they click off real quick, and they have a massive projector on a huge, beautiful wall, and it's a cinema. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a cool concept. I would do it in a fartbeat as soon as I have the right space for it. Which I don't, because people that
I don't have
love
anything fancy
live
like
with us.
that. Mine is still very main setup.
Dude, no complaints. No complaints. You gotta drop those. You gotta drop those onto the account so people can see what you got down there.
Yeah.
How many arcade games now?
3.
Over there it is.
They're back there. It's a mess back there. Ava just came down a little while ago and just trashed it. I was like, thanks for that.
So you got Golden Tee.
Golden Tee, NBA Jam, and then Marvel vs. Capcom.
That's amazing. NBA Jam is a phenomenal game. Phenomenal game.
Yeah.
All right.
Golden State's great.
Can we dust off the Celtics? Good news, too, which is amazing. I just looked real quick because I love complaining about the NBA playoff schedule. Like, there's a game in July. There's another one in September. They're actually playing Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah.
If
it's
you can
actually
believe
really-
it.
So far, I feel like the schedule's actually been really accommodating.
Well, is that because of the geographic proximity to the two cities?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's possible, but it's it's also just. I think they're just the first round is always the longest. Like when they played their first game, there was literally a 3-day wait. You know what I mean until their next game. But I think they're trying to keep
the one to keep an eye on. I haven't looked, but I'd be curious to see what the Lakers Warriors one. I can see them spacing that out so some people can get rest in between games in that series.
Yeah. Well,
And by
Scotty
people,
just
you
said
mean
that.
LeBron.
Yeah, Scotty just said that, brilliant take, Scotty. Like I think the opening round across the board, they might take a little license to spread that out, just to sort of give everybody some time.
Yeah.
To dust off the regular season and get healthy and all that stuff. Oh yeah, they're doing whatever they can. They are going to find a way to get I don't know, LeBron traded back to the Heat so he can stay in this thing and play the Warriors. It's driving me crazy. I can't believe the Lakers are figuring it out. It's driving me crazy.
So right now, Billy, the first they're actually just every other day. Right now. Yeah, they're every other day.
Good
So
to
they start
know.
tonight,
They're not
yeah.
catering to certain players.
No.
And what's the other series? Is Phoenix and who?
Denver. And Denver's up 2-0.
0-2.
Ooh.
That was an unbelievable.
Oh, I might be absolutely wrong soon. Look at that.
Unbelievable.
Join the club.
Join the club.
Second half by Jokic.
I had the Dallas Mavericks. They didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, there is that. There is that. All right, so you boys will discuss that next week. I'm on assignment next week. Adam, I believe, is back. You guys are doing the show next Tuesday. Am I correct?
Wednesday.
I believe. Wednesday. I apologize. Next Wednesday. All right. Anywho, all that aside, on to the Bruins. Let's talk about the
59 seconds.
Yeah, I don't want to get well because there's nothing we can say that's new. And I think a lot of what I'm most interested is going to transpire in the next few weeks, and maybe not even the next few weeks. I know people are all over the place. I'm always emotionally tied to the people in our laundry, and as soon as they're gone, I'm okay with it. It kills me when we trade. Like I hate seeing people leave, Mookie and anybody leave town. I hate that. I would love to see them put the band back together, and I know not everybody's on that same page. I don't think Krejci comes back. I think he's dying to go home. But I'd love to see Bergeron.
He's out at the end of the game.
Bergeron gave a lot of hugs. He stayed on the ice and hugged everybody.
He waved to everyone before he got off the ice. I'll be shocked if he comes back.
Based on his body language on the ice, I agree with you, Rubber Shoes. I would too. I would also love it. I can't. That's if they're upset about anything, and you're on that team, and you care about the leaders of that team, you have to be horrified that you sent those guys home without a cup. Mm-hmm. More than anything, because McAvoy's going to get another shot. There's Hall's going to get another shot. There's a lot of. It's so funny because you feel like Pasta's been here for 65 years because he's been so effective, but he's a kid too. They're all going to get another shot. If we're not in the conversation next year, right?
No, I wouldn't. This team's going to look a lot different next year.
Well, so I let me ask you guys this: do they deal Olmark or Swayman? And Olmark, we're still in the midst of a hefty deal. Does Swayman get dealt?
So Swayman's an unrestricted free agent.
Oh,
not unrestricted. He's a restricted free agent. My bad.
Okay,
restricted free agent. So they would have to sign him to trade him.
Okay.
Foligno, Bertuzzi, Orlov, Hathaway, Bergeron, Krejci, and I think that's it. Those are all unrestricted free agents. And then Lauko, Swayman, and There was one other guy that was a restricted free agent, but and they're really up against the cap, even with having all those people off the books. Like to bring them back at the same, you figure Krejci and Bergeron signed for like hometown discounts to come back to play this year.
You had to
So
figure it out.
Bergeron would have to come back and say, "Yeah, I'm going to play for nothing again," in order to try and sign some of these other guys. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it'd be a blood oath for them to come back, and everybody's got to make the money right. Like pull off the Brady, right? Like I'll take $4, save money to spend on everybody else. And if everybody's willing to take a cut, which nobody should be willing to do because they're all professionals, they all have families, they all have futures, they all have legacies. If that's your last deal, and some of the emotion of like, Bergeron doing that and saying, yeah, I've never been anywhere else. I don't want to be anywhere else. And it wasn't a big deal. I think most of us have forgotten. But when you saw Chara leave, only to come back and retire with us. But like I'd be horrified. I will be horrified if this happens. If he decides he wants to play and they're like, we're not going to do it with you. And I don't know that Don Sweeney wants to do that because let's remember during the season where they set a regular season record, we had that kid come into the ecosystem for 3 seconds that picked on the autistic or the cognitively challenged kid. Like that whole story. And like, what are they doing right now? Why are you screwing up the juju? Like that happened. They recovered and they got to this point. So I don't think Sweeney would ever let Bergeron come back and not figure the money out. But I think there's precious few people that get creative with. Like, we're going to lose. But Foligno, Orlov looked great. And I don't know. I have a juice lord here. I don't have a milk carton. Has anybody seen Lindholm? Where did he go?
Yeah, that was a bit. He had 0 points. 0 points this year and the last year's playoffs.
He has had so good this year for us.
Yeah.
And then it was just like missing in action.
And the thing, so I found out today that Ullmark was dealing with an injury, and they didn't. They should have played Swayman at least in Game 6, if not Game 5, just to give him a break. Throwing him in Game 7, He played. He was solid. There was nothing wrong with him playing in Game 7, but he should have. You should have played earlier in the series. And the other thing is, they were swapping off at every other game down the last month and a half, and now you're throwing Ullmark in playing every game, and he looked wiped in that Game 6. Like that was a fatigue era that happened in overtime, and that he was just spent.
Yep.
And I'm surprised they didn't make a move there. I mean, the amount of goals alone in that, you know what I mean? That,
right.
Like,
yeah.
They showed they broke the record for most goals in the third period combined in a series.
If you pull Ullmark and put Swayman in, maybe he locks it down there in the third period, and you end up winning that game. Yeah.
And you win the game. Because it wasn't their offense that really kind of failed them. You know what I mean? They scored plenty of goals throughout the series. It really was just their defense and goaltending. It
just seemed every mistake they made, Florida capitalized on. It's like every bad pass, every bad turnover, they scored. And it's like it was unbelievable. And it wasn't Ollie's fault.
They were executing their power play. And that was like the big thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like their penalty kill was just unbelievable throughout the year and to start the season, right? Or start the series. I mean, they were so good with the penalty kill. Just those first 4 games when they were up 3-1. I don't know. I think they gave up maybe 1 power play goal out of like 17 opportunities or something ridiculous. And then they gave up like 5 in the last 3 games, and 5 or 6. And it's just, that's tough, man.
I was hopeful in Game 7, the first 2 power plays that Florida went on. Boston played really good. They were really aggressive. They didn't let them set up at all, and then just kind of I don't know if them chasing the records where they didn't rest people that if that cost them going 7 games, because they made a lot of mental mistakes in the last few games.
Well, their biggest mistake, I had to remind myself, Bruins are up 3-1.
Yeah.
Like, they could be going well rested into a Maple Leafs series right now, which is heartbreaking. I love so devious. Did you see that the Florida Panthers are restricting ticket sales to anybody who's not a U.S. citizen because they
Oh, really?
they don't want Toronto to stack the deck at their arena,
that-
which would
That's
happen.
stupid because
Well, which-
they're
they
going to
would-
have
it
like
would-
a half-empty building.
4,000%. Janina was stunned coming into the second or third period the other night. She goes, "It's empty." I'm like, "They're going to get beer." She's like, "All those people aren't thirsty."
Yeah.
It was, and then it never did fill in. I'm like, God, are we not paying it? I haven't been paying attention to the crowd.
Bruins fans there.
Deplorable.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really bad, and that's the worst thing, to lose to a franchise like that doesn't have like a rabid fan base. You know what I mean? Like that's it's because what happens is like they become super loud on social media, but you don't fucking go to the game, so who gives a shit? Like, I don't want to hear your mouth. Go away.
Yep.
You're not going to actually represent your team in the actual stadium. Then I don't want to hear it.
Yep.
It's just that's not.
Do you think we can have this conversation about the Celtics in a couple of days, I suppose. Do you think everybody's safe in the Bruins?
After
Is
this season,
Monty, do you think Monty's in trouble at all, or?
No. No, I think,
I'm just asking because
I think everyone's good because the moves that Sweeney made were great moves. Getting Bertuzzi, Orlov.
Oh yeah, yep, I'd agree.
Hathaway was great. So we'll see what he does. I think he's safe for a season or half a season. See what happens in the offseason and how the team looks halfway through next season. Like if they come out and they're just horrible and he didn't sign anyone because their cap is so bad, then he could be shown the door. I think Montgomery's good for a year unless they're just totally awful.
yeah, crap. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think they have to give him a chance to be the head coach without the veterans in the locker room, right? There's a lot of veteran voices that probably aren't going to be in that locker room, and if he can still command the locker room and have control, and I don't think he's in trouble.
Curious if Bergeron doesn't come back, who they make the captain.
Marchand?
Yeah, that would be a slam dunk to me.
Well, he
Don't you think?
definitely stepped up those 2 games that Bergeron was out in his playoff. He definitely stepped up, and he didn't get into any of those bad calls. He didn't.
Yeah, he was
They were
an altar boy.
trying to get him to get goaded into something, but he never did. I could definitely see him. I could definitely see Charlie McAvoy also being that guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was disappointing
time will
though.
tell.
Not,
Yes,
I feel like
it
it's
was-
not surprising only because of it's we all kind of talked about it before too. It's hockey.
Oh yeah.
Hockey is like you look at the President's Trophy curse, man. It's like the Madden curse right now. It is very, very much alive and well. That is for sure. Speaking of Madden, do you guys want to talk about the draft? I felt like the Patriots had a ridiculously good draft.
Oh,
Do you not agree?
I'm
I'm trying to go from a somber thing to like a
I
happy
told
thing,
you
but-
I'm gonna die on this hill. In Bill I trust, and I also want a little splash. I want you to, and I don't know if you guys have seen this on TikTok. God bless TikTok. All the secrets are on TikTok. When you go to Applebee's or anywhere where you get like the fajita plate and it comes out sizzling, all they do is ladle water onto the platter before they bring it to you to make it look like it's sizzling.
Yeah,
But when I get my steak, based on the price and the restaurant, I know the steak's going to be good. I need you to sell me the sizzle, right? I need a little sizzle. And I don't feel like there was any. I got excited about
is there no
nothing. I got excited about nothing. Tell me who I missed, who I should be excited about.
I think Gonzalez is good pick.
Gonzalez, thank you. Amazing pick.
Okay.
Amazing pick.
All right, I'm calling it right now. Bust.
based on absolutely no information. You're just calling it just because
Bust. Yeah,
there's no
Nostradamus.
information.
There's
It's a
there's
sham.
no
It's all a
there's no
sham.
knowledge. There's no research. I
we
got
do
I
good
got an
with the
empty
Ducks.
lunch beer and a heart full of stupid.
Hey,
I don't know what's
you like it?
happening.
Did
Bust.
you like it? Did you
We
like
do
the
good
Oh,
with the Ducks.
I love lunch, dude. I appreciate
You know?
it. Yeah,
Oh.
I love it. Love it. He's gonna be a bust. He's gonna be
do
a
good with
bust.
the Ducks.
You know how
Well,
many games
quack,
I watched
quack.
that kid play? None. It's gonna be a bust because we have a phenomenal defense. Do we need to shore it up because we're going into an AFC East with every offense coming to steal our? You heard it here first. Lunch money. Yes, I completely appreciate that. But I don't know. There's no sizzle. And yes, I'm going to call it right now, Christian Gonzalez bust. You're welcome. I'll be rooting for him, and I also won't be shocked. I will not be
heard he's
clutching
wearing
the
22.
pearls and swooning when he busts. Nope. What did you say?
I love that he says.
I heard it. He's wearing 22.
Speaking of 22, Zay Flowers went with a 22nd pick. If there's nothing more serendipitous that the BC kid goes to Baltimore on the 22nd pick and number 22, first in my heart, my future ex-husband, Doug Flutie, if you don't know, grew up in Baltimore. And the reason he chose to wear 22 was the great pitcher from Baltimore. Help me, losing my mind now. Who wore 22?
Palmer.
Jim Palmer wore 22. Doug Flutie grew up loving him as a player, and that's why he elected to wear 22. So the fact that it's all, I connected those dots for you. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon for you. Yes. With the 22nd pick, Zay Flowers.
Saying he's going to be a bust.
There's no sizzle there for me.
Two busts.
I'm sorry. there's no sizzle.
No. Zay Flowers will not be a bust. He will not be a bust.
Very well.
Oh,
At least-
well,
at least
yeah,
football.
but you also don't believe in Lent or Christianity, so that's fine. So we'll just, yeah.
I believe just in case.
I believe just in
I
case.
believe just in case. Is that how it
Also,
works?
and just in case, also
Hey,
a terrible
Those
cornerback.
guys,
Yep.
those homeless guys on the street say, as long as I repent before I die, so I can be on my deathbed.
I completely agree with that. Yeah,
Bread?
I completely.
that's
Yeah, yes.
I'm hungry.
It's stale. You get it at Demulis's. It's in the last aisle. Demulis's. Anyway,
deathbed, isn't that what
What
they
do I
give you at
call it?
communion?
Christian Gonzalez will be a bust.
That's okay. I also
You
love
love
the,
this. Somebody has to be the contrarian.
It's fine. You're
You
fine.
guys are
You're
like
fine. I'm not,
clanging the cymbals for Billy on that first pick. Okay, bust.
Oh, I'm not in Bill. We
Yeah.
trust
So
guy.
tell me, walk us through the Patriots draft. Tell me why I should be so excited.
Keon White. I like the Keon White pick because they need like a legit put your hand on the ground kind of edge rusher. They have Judon and Uche, but I think White is going to be more of a guy that's going to take over for like a Dietrich Wise, right? So you're looking at an edge rusher that's going to help there. Marte Mapu, who by the way is, I want to say the grandson or nephew of Junior Seau, as well, who's kind of he's a coverage linebacker. You talked about we are in a division now that has Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, and Tua. But this is a really, really talented offensive division. I love the fact they brought him in. I thought it's hilarious, by the way, that they picked.
Talk to me about the
kicker and
punter. Talk to me about the punter. Tell me all the good things
kicker
about the punter.
is amazing. I got nothing for you on that. I just thought it was great that they picked a kicker and a punter, and also the fact that
Could never do that after with a free agent. Yeah.
of course not. No, undrafted free agent. Why not? But also, I think one of the other steals of the draft that they got was Kayshawn. I'm gonna always pronounce his name wrong. It's Bout. The kid from LSU. He's a wide receiver. He's had some issues off the field.
I thought it was Buick. Is it Bouty? I have no idea.
Boutte. Very
you're right.
Louisiana. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. Regardless, the dude's an absolute stud. The reason why he fell so far is because of some of his off the field issues. But he's an absolute stud, and I'm really excited for him to come in. I thought it was a really good draft. I was pretty happy with the way that it all turned out. I'm happy they focused on defense to start with because they need it. And yes, I am a Bill We Trust guy, without a doubt, and I think they did a really good job. Sizzle or no sizzle. So let me ask you a question, Timmy. When they drafted Dante Hightower, was that sizzle at that time? Do you remember, like, when they picked him?
I think you and I were in the room when they picked him.
It's a strong possibility.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember
we
being
went to,
excited
I don't
about
know how
that.
many draft parties we went to. We went to quite a
I
few.
remember being excited about that. Yes.
Okay, that was Sizzle though, but the cornerback is no Sizzle. No.
No.
Okay. All right.
And I am not. I 4,000% am not a college football aficionado.
I will
just
say my son,
Oh,
my 13-year-old, was upset that they didn't pick Will Levis. he was gunning, like he was betting the bank that they were going to trade Mac.
I
Nathan was 100%. Nathan's like, they're going to trade Mac for blah blah blah, and then they're going to draft Will Levis. I'm like, that's not going to happen.
and I love that you just brought up the Big Nate brought that up. Perfect. That for no apparent reason, but I wanted to talk about it on the show. I'm super rooting for that kid
Me too.
because he got so much flack, and I think he will. I think the Titans are going to be thrilled to have him when his time comes. He's not stepping in now, obviously, but
No.
Tannehill's
I'm
going to be
always
on his way out, right? Tannehill in his last year.
Yeah.
well,
And what is
I've
Malik
heard they
Willis
might
thinking?
try to ship him out.
Because they also got that kid. They got that other kid last year with the huge
Willis.
arm.
Malik Willis. Yeah,
Malik,
like that's
yeah.
what is Malik Willis thinking right now. But here's the thing. I don't think Vrabel likes Malik Willis. I think when he came in, like he was just not ready. And I think when he got there, I think he surprised Vrabel. I'm going to have another sip of my whiskey here in a second. Vrabel on how just inept he was to run the offense. And I think he really struggled with that. And I think Vrabel's pretty much done with him. So that's why they brought in. I think they brought in Levis for that reason. But I'm rooting for him too because I felt so bad for that kid. I really, really, really did.
Well, and everybody's giving him crap. There's all those.
I didn't feel that bad because the chick in the red dress was his girlfriend.
His girlfriend,
that you
yeah.
found out later,
And
I was
she's all over the intertubes, and it was really funny. All the memes were him asking about C.J. Stroud and everybody else. Like the joke was she was talking to somebody else over her shoulder, asking about all the other quarterbacks if she could take off. Then there's another meme where she's out of the picture, and it's just all of his sisters. And then if you look, the next day he goes home because he gets early third round, right? Early second round. I apologize.
Round.
He goes home for second round. I love the kid that stayed for the second round too. By the way, one kid stayed in the draft room. God bless him. Won't be a bust. And he's sitting there at his parents' house, and girlfriend's nowhere to be found because she's off signing NIL deals because she's beautiful and she's already on the internet. Yeah, he'll be fine. It's so funny when you see. And you forget because we all got, like, you guys have gone to enough games with me. We're sitting there and we've gone from the point where like these kids are our age and now they're my kids, like all this stuff. And I forget so many times because they show the draft room and he's kissing his fiance / girlfriend / wife. He's giving his daughter a kiss before he goes out to get his hat on. Like because so many kids are older or just younger. And their family's already started. It's like you forget all that, and all these girlfriends are just like, well, got my biology degree, but you know what? I'm not going to save the whales. I'm going to be picking up furniture in a few weeks because we just got paid. And then they're beautiful. They're already online making money on TikTok. Yeah, it's unbelievable. But I did talk to Janine about this, and I feel so strongly about this. Did you guys see the girl? We're way off track. Welcome to the show. Did you see the girl from the National Women's Soccer League? I believe it's the NWSL, National Women's Soccer League, I believe. Playing for San Diego.
Adam will talk about that next week.
Yeah, he'll be back to talk to me about it next week. Her name is, her name escapes me. Doesn't matter. You just look her up. She plays for San Diego in the National Women's Soccer League. She's 15 years old. And she got her first start the other night. And you just think about the fact, like, I love that all these leagues are starting. And if there's going to be any blessing of the NIL for all the athletes, and I know we've discussed this, athletes that don't have a league to go to, because either it's just underserviced on the men's side or the women's side haven't developed the professional league for it. Some of these kids are going to make so much money in the NIL, they're going to be able to go and just start things. Maybe nothing crazy, maybe nothing on ESPN or ABC Monday night, but something that gives people to go somewhere and do something professionally when they get the chance to, which is super cool. There was this whole listing about all the girls at, and they just got Von Litton too, I think, right? They just, LSU just got the girl from Texas Tech, I think, just left and went to LSU to play with Angel Reese and the rest of the team. And they were talking about
Adam will be back next week.
Oh my God, he's so angry. So they were showing all the girls at LSU that are getting ridiculous
Read the room.
NIL money. And one of them, what
Both of us are looking at you like we don't know what the hell you're talking
I don't
about.
know. I don't know.
You don't know the
my
vo-
only contribution to this entire thing is like, it's funny that the United States is doing this now because Europe has been doing this forever. You think about like Tony Kukoc, right? Tony Kukoc didn't come over to the Chicago Bulls back in the 90s because he was still playing in Europe, right? And he'd been playing professionally in Europe as a teenager. And so as he didn't come over and start playing right away because he was making millions of dollars still playing over in Europe, and that was a big reason why he didn't leave. Obviously, there was war and stuff like that on top of all that. But outside of that, it's funny that this is now kind of catching up here in the States, just over the last year or two, and it's amazing to me that. To Timmy's point, I do love the fact that these leagues and these opportunities are there because they should be. They absolutely should be. They've been there in other parts of the world. They should be here in the States as well. And I don't see why not. I'm not following it all that closely, obviously, but I think it's an amazing opportunity, and I'm bummed for the kids.
LSU got Haley Van Lith. I think she was on Texas Tech, and they're going to destroy people next year. But they were just talking about all the girls on the LSU basketball team right now are never going to get the money they're getting now at LSU.
Right.
When they go to the WNBA.
yeah.
And then the girl that's across like all social media right now is in gymnastics at LSU. Her name is Livy Dunn. She's already made 3.5 in NIL. She's a junior maybe.
That's insane.
And she'll probably go do the Olympics, and then she doesn't care if she gets a Wheaties box or not. That was the big thing.
Right.
I'm going to be on the Wheaties box, and I'm not going to get paid.
Right.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Crazy stuff.
And that's the thing. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's crazy to me that, if somebody in somebody in the Ukraine or in whatever, in Ireland, and they did really well, and as a young person, and they got themselves sponsored, they would actually get paid if they if they were, what I mean, back in the day, and they still are today. But now finally here in the States, they're actually doing that as well, which I think again, it's the right thing to do. Absolutely
well, between
right.
that and the transfer portal, they've created free agency,
right,
and salary.
Yep,
it's pretty cool. Yeah, I was worried about it at first, and universities are going to suffer. I mean, Chestnut Hill University is never going to figure it out. Like I mean, honestly, I think Zay had Dunkin' Donuts and Gillette.
Really?
Any athlete that could throw a rock and hit Foxborough Stadium is going to get Gillette. And that's the other thing. If you see all their advertising now, it's Gillette Labs. So I think when they're done with the scoreboard, that big screen and everything, I think they're gonna rebrand before they open up this fall as Gillette Labs Stadium.
Is this area isn't a big college sports area, so
I hadn't noticed.
It's hard to get those guys.
Oh, sure. No, yeah. But that's also that there also needs to be a mindset that because other universities, we're going to create a department within the athletic department that does this full time. Right. So when they're sitting in somebody's living room, they're like, Mr. and Mrs. Duquette, we want to give Logan X, and here's what you're looking at. Right, and never mind, like the full boat scholarship is a done deal. That's a done deal. Now it's like, and what else? What's the car dealership? What's this? What's that?
Was talking to you about last fall with why isn't BC the regional game in this area every week on ABC or ESPN, not looking on the Ocho to find BC football.
ESPN plus.
It should be the main game every week in these parts. They should be pushing it, and for some reason, well, we know because back in the 80s when Flutie was here, everyone was watching BC football.
We got him into the conversation. Box checked. Yep. I said it. I said his name earlier. I'm going to make my point. I got rubber shoes to bring him into the conversation. Yeah. Go ahead. By all means, whatever you want to say now. The floor is yours.
So, I mean, in order to get good players to come here, you're going to have more than an education as a reason.
No, 4,000%. And they're never going to lean into it that way.
Yep.
They're not. Yeah, we're gonna lose because of that. We're never gonna have the big LSU. I don't even know what LSU is doing, but the fact that Livy Dunn on the gymnastics team is getting 3.5 right now, and that's probably all time. And maybe they're even folding in some of the social media she was doing at high school before she got to LSU. But it's just it's obnoxious. It's obnoxious. Where are we going? Are we still in the draft?
I want to go back to Christian Gonzalez.
Yes, please.
So
I want to be
Christian
wrong.
Gonzalez-
I'll be rooting for him, but I'm also
Christian
calling bust.
Gonzalez was on the ESPN rankings, he was ranked number 2 cornerback in the draft and the number 8 overall player in the draft. And the reason why Washington, whatever they're called,
Oh God,
didn't pick him the pick before us is
the
because
Washington Condiments.
they watched his first game last year against Georgia, and he got torched.
Yeah, it's the one
And
I
that's
saw.
the one game that they stuck on. But that was the first game of the season, a new coaching staff, so he was learning it. But he became a better player as the season went on, so that he's able to be coached. I think they're gonna end up with a really good player.
I want to be wrong. I'm
Chung's
calling
footsteps.
bust. What's that?
In Patrick Chung's footsteps.
Yes.
Another duck.
Yes. All the cocaine you can shake a stick at. God bless him. Anyway, yeah. Where are we going? What are we talking about?
Is your little boss due downstairs, Scotty?
She's probably
Any
coming in
second,
hot.
I'm waiting for it. I'm actually waiting for it. I'm waiting
Well,
for like
so
the
and I'm going
door
to throw this
fly
on the table just so we know that we're going to talk about this soon. I think we've got we're going to have some clearance pretty soon on the other side of the, and again, we're talking hopefully mid-June after a parade when the Celtics are done, and we have just more football to talk about, definitely focused on the Red Sox, which, God willing, they figure something out so they don't ruin Rubber Shoes' summer, even though he's been to Fenway more times
good spring
already
right
than
now.
he's ever. Yeah, he's good. Everything's good. We're closing
they're doing
games out.
better than-
Can I just aesthetically, can we ask a question as a fan? How do you feel about the light show on the walk-offs?
hate him. Hate it.
No,
Absolutely hate it.
No. It's not the walk-offs. It's every home run. Every home
really?
run.
I thought at first we were
Yoshida
only
hit
doing the
that
light
home run in the first inning. The game I went to, they did it, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
Oh no!
It's
Oh no!
every
Okay.
home run
Okay.
Stop it. That's
At
not
night.
okay.
All right. I
Not
call
every
bust.
day
I
one.
call bust.
every night.
Yep.
Every night.
That's a bust.
Home run. It's
Oh,
that.
I got to keep a closer eye. I thought they were just doing the light show for walk-offs.
Nope.
How are they not concerned of like people with like epilepsy? You know what I mean? You go to a game and all of a sudden you have
Well,
a freaking seizure because
all I
you're
remember.
sales pitching. I mean, what?
Yeah, great point, Scotty. And I don't even know when this was, but 4,000 years ago, just me and the wife, maybe. God, who did we meet down there? It might have been myself and Janina and Kenny Shaw and Heather. I don't know why we would have been down there, but I think we were. And we went to Baltimore. And they got a base hit. And 13 minutes later, the fireworks ended. And Janina's like, this is a different experience. I'm like, this is ridiculous. They were very excited. And this is 20 minutes after they opened up Oriole Park, right? Or Camden Field at Oriole Park, whatever it was. So, but it was just a very different experience. Every home run was they won. The war is over. We beat the Japanese. Like, honest to God, yeah. They were signing the paperwork and handing over their sword on the Lido deck. So I'm not quite sure that I'm all about that because I don't know if I can be in an environment where they're doing that for every home run and still playing Sweet Caroline, middle of the eighth.
So just think,
we got to give up one.
They're losing 7-0, and someone hits a solo home run, and they're doing that.
You're
that
making my
it's
point. Yeah.
We're still down 6 runs. It's like, really?
Yeah, that's a
Right.
walk-off only
Yeah.
conversation. I thought it was walk-offs
Even-
only. That's terrible.
Even the walk off, it's not aesthetically pleasing. It's stupid. I don't like. I remember when it first
wait
happened.
till you're there. Oh my God.
Is it bad?
Yeah,
But Scotty makes a really valid point.
I felt like I was in a dance club. Like it
Well,
gets dark.
Home
and
run.
Yeah, and you've got, and obviously, and and I don't know what disclaimer they would put out, but like you see this at the front of movies or anytime you're watching maybe a music video and they talk about, you know, there's going to be light flashes in this video, in this performance. You'll see it before concerts start. And obviously somebody that would be triggered by that due to epilepsy or any condition would be aware of that.
I'm sure it's in the fine print on the tickets that you buy through the app that no one ever reads. You just hit agree and it's done.
One of our good friends, when they would join me for a Patriots game, every touchdown, just the muskets were something they were well aware of, and they would block their ears.
Yeah.
Because it was that was enough. So like, yeah, it's not aesthetically pleasing on television. And 34 Bud Lights deep, don't drink that in public or ever. 34 $18 beers deep, right? At Fenway, I'm sure it's like, this is great. I can't feel my eyes, but on TV it looks terrible. But in the moment where 10 minutes ago before Rubber Shoes told me, when I thought it was just a walk-off thing, I could get it then because that's cool, but every home run, because to put it in context, Rubber Shoes, yeah, we're losing 7-0.
Yeah.
And somebody barely wraps one around pesky pole and they make it sound, they're cracking glow sticks.
Feedback from it and they end up, toning it down. But yeah, I was there the first week.
It's frustrating because this is Boston. Like to Timmy's point, this isn't friggin' Baltimore. You know what I mean? We're not playing for the Marlins. Don't play here. None of that stuff is. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all for them to have to. They don't have to do this. They shouldn't have to do this. If this is something that mine was like, this is going to draw more people to Fenway. No,
you won a World Series 5 years ago. And now I say that, and you hear like, yeah, it was 5 years ago. Yep. And we've won a handful in the last 20 years. And we just should be behaving differently. And to me, I'd get rid of the light show or move it to walk-offs only. And above and beyond that, get back to making sure that everything else is good. I thought they had that groove going last year where they lowered the ticket prices for the college kids, which I thought was always a thing. Because you could basically walk in for $2 when I was in school, right? Keep that going. Keep the vibe going. I know that Philadelphia stole that song, but the Red Sox had that song from, I think his name is Callum Scott, Dancing on My Own. And then Philadelphia hijacked it last year. Great song, by the way. But all that kind of stuff. Just like keep that music going in between innings. And I do, honestly, and I know this is going to be blasphemous. Yeah, I want to see I want to see that song go. Sweet Caroline is terrible. It can go. It can go. I would love to start the petition. And I know people love it and because everybody's blasted by then, which I guess takes me to my last point. And we're just gonna go until Ava shows up. We're not. One more thing. I want to run this past you guys.
I was gonna say before we do that real quick, the only other point on that in the Boston thing is that what it reminds me of is Jackie McMullen. I remember a quote that she had when the Orlando Magic first started, right? And you went down to what was called the arena.
Billy's got all the shirts. Go ahead. Yeah.
Situation or whatever. And when you would go there, they would have they'd have dancers, they'd have these lights going off and fireworks, and like in between the quarter, there'd be people going out and they'd be like, all this stuff. And, they'd be like singing all these ridiculous songs. And she said that can't believe she was at a basketball game because you're coming from Boston where, it's like a cathedral. It's like a church.
Yeah.
What they do is like in the notes for like back then was they would literally guy rolls out basketballs to middle court. The end. That was it. Like that was their halftime show, and that was it. And that's all it was. And it's just funny that how things have changed and not for the better when I look at something like this with the lights. And it's probably more of it might be a dramatic comparison, but I don't know. It just I don't think it's needed, and it just really doesn't have to be a part of what we're doing in Boston. But to your last point, Timmy, go ahead.
How did you know I got a Penny Hardaway jersey this past weekend?
Of course he does. This past weekend?
Yes.
With the stripes?
Yeah.
with the stripes.
Kind of like
Dude, I got the same one.
reverse color. It's gray. It's gray with stripes.
Oh, it's gray. Okay, I got the
You
black
know what?
one.
You know what,
with
Billy?
stripes.
I believe and understand and respect that Modell's is your church, and I will respect your religion. I will not pick on that.
No, Modell's went out of business
Modell's!
5 years ago.
Well, so did the Catholic
around
Church.
here.
But anyway, it's fine. I'm still going to mass. Doors are still open. They're still taking my money. Still taking my
But
money.
he just believes it when it counts. That's all. Believe when it
Oh,
counts.
yeah. Just, yeah. Only during high holidays. So there's a movement. I think I've got Scotty's vote already. Haven't even talked to him about him, but I feel like I know where he's going to land on this. There's a movement through pro sports that they are starting to alleviate that they're shutting off the taps in the middle of the seventh or the end of the third quarter. They're going to sell alcohol straight to the end of the game. Not everywhere, but some venues are starting to weigh this, or some leagues. I heard a little bit of it and some of the argument, and I don't disagree with it. Like, my heart's not broken, and I think we've all educated ourselves. You know, if you're at the Garden, I think it's the end of the third. I think it might be 10 minutes into the third period if you're at a Bruins game, end of the third for a Celtics game. I don't know what it is at BC. We've only had alcohol for about 20 minutes at BC because they just added it, and it's terrible. So, like, I'm not rushing down to get another natty light. But anyway, thanks, Father Leahy. Great job. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, that's Troy Brown's beer.
Because there's no local breweries making great craft beer that we can get from Boston College, right? Oh, God. Anyway, so all that being said, I'm not against it. Just wondering where you guys fall on that. Like, do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? Nobody's going to get, like, tuned up that much more. And honestly, if you are drinking until the end of the third quarter, you probably shouldn't be jumping in your car anyway. Like,
Yeah, I never understood why they shut you off anyway. Because you figure if it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, most of that crowd is going to a bar, right?
Out. They're going to the Harp.
there,
They're right across the street to get
Yeah.
arrested. Yep.
Which,
Thousands.
and to that point, and that's an amazing point, Billy. It's like the venue is losing out on millions of dollars of alcohol sales at that point, right? You know, where all they're going to do is just, it's probably
7 minutes at Fenway, millions of dollars.
yes. Why not?
Oh, that's over the course of the season.
Well, no, I know. I know. Add the math across the board. Well, no, but Scotty makes a
Yeah,
great
but
point though.
beer is it's like $20 friggin' for a beer.
yeah.
Like,
Yep.
But you think about it, like, you absolutely know that the Jacobs are pissed that at least 12 more games they could have sold alcohol,
Yep.
and now they can't. Like, that factors in. Never mind the food. I mean, and that's still unreasonably priced. And I say that, and I'm also going to say counterintuitively, they do a great job with concessions at the Garden. The Garden's awesome. Whatever you want is there. Whatever you want. So the beer's at $30. Get back to work, everybody. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Dad, you must be really thirsty. Yeah. Why are you crying? Because this was $30. But I'm really thirsty.
Exactly. I'm crying because I can't send you to college.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
Drinking it away. Jesus.
No Ava.
Nope. She must be busy. Must be happy up there.
I love
don't know. I hear
all
Lana
of
running
this.
around, and she's like, I can hear her yelling / playing with the dog. So I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We
I
are
think my
going to put a
wife-
bow on it. I do want to say, though, we have discussed, and we're definitely going to do some of these over the summer for sure when we have a little more oxygen to deal with. And there's always going to be stuff to touch on with the Celtics and the Bruins, even in the offseason, as the Patriots are getting ready and as the Red Sox are doing their light show, not doing their light show, selling $30 beers. We're going to have some just topical shows where we talk about things like what we just did. Didn't even try to get there, and we got there. But more stuff about that kind of stuff that you would discuss with your friends over a beer before they close the taps.
Or 5.
Before the end of the third quarter. So for Scotty and myself and Rubber Shoes, you weren't here for it. So make sure Joe and Leslie are very happy. Give it to us. AAA Work Trucks.
All right, brought to you by AAA Work Trucks, your one-stop shop for all your work truck needs. If it goes in or on a vehicle, it's a good bet. AAA can take care of it for you. Give them a call at 866-783-6222 or check them out online at aaaworktrucks.com.
And I did mention earlier that it looks like a version of you in all of the costumes of the Village People are spread around the truck. but it's really just you in different work clothes. So,
Yeah.
but I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, "Where is the headdress?" And we didn't do that. We didn't do that because we'd get canceled,
Not
and
politically correct.
we can't have that. That's not going to happen. So I believe you and Adam and Uncle Dukes are back next Wednesday. I'm on assignment, but you can find us, of course, online at atbshow.com at the buzzer with Scotty and Billy and Timmy, and for Adam as well. We appreciate you hanging out. Please comment, share, subscribe, and like, and tell your friends to join us for the conversation. And again, celebrating that the Bruins will not be on the same night as the Celtics for the rest of the season. So take stock in that and have a wonderful week. We'll see you in and around the internets. Take care.